Hello and welcome to this new edition and the special coverage coming your way from Nile TV International regarding the latest developments in the region and the updates regarding the negotiations taking place between the United States and Iran and the efforts of Egypt as a mediator and the phone calls that were conducted by Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati with his counterparts from Iran and Pakistan in order to be de-escalating the situation and trying to find a new solution and a fast solution for the crisis in the Middle East. And to be shedding more light on those important updates for Friday, I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, the Senior Fellow at the Global Peace Institute. Dr. Asmaa, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. First of all, today and maybe in the past hour or so, we have seen the developments and the mediation efforts by Egypt. The phone calls being conducted between Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati with his counterparts from Iran and Pakistan, Abbas Araghchi and Muhammad Ishaq Dar, respectively, in order to be finding out about the latest developments regarding the negotiations between the US and Iran and trying to find means of de-escalations in the region and to be regaining stability in the Middle East. How would you see the efforts of Dr. Badr Abdulati and the efforts of Egypt in general to be de-escalating the crisis or the conflict in the Middle East?
This is contact today is part of Egypt's continuous efforts for achieving peace in the whole world and especially in the region and de-escalation the dispute in the region which affected the daily life of each one. Egypt is like the rest of the world is waiting for the results of the mediation held by Pakistan between US, Israel and Iran, and we are waiting for confirmation about the peace deal that was announced, that it is like finalized. This call is part of the whole effort exerted by Egypt to de-escalate the situation, which is Egypt's stable situation towards achieving peace in the whole world.
Yes, and before that we have seen the announcement of the American President Donald Trump of the cancellation of the strikes that could have taken place against Iran yesterday, and the announcement was welcomed by the Egyptian Foreign Ministry and the Egyptian Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati. How do you see the importance of cancelling those strikes that could have taken place yesterday in terms of finding a solution or ending and concluding the negotiations taking place between the US and Iran as soon as possible?
Actually, the escalation between US, Israel and Iran is affecting the whole region, and Egypt is a whole part of the region, and actually it's affecting the whole world. This peace deal that announced the strikes disturbed the whole world, and the cancellation is something to be believed. We are believing it should be something real for the best of everyone. Actually, what happened in Lebanon and the rest of the region countries is something that no one would be satisfied with. So this peace deal is badly needed. Even if it is only for 60 days, it is very much needed to achieve the stability in the whole region.
Earlier on in the day, we have seen the phone call being conducted between Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati and his counterpart from Qatar, the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister of Qatar, Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. How do you see the importance of the statements of the Foreign Minister of Egypt regarding the security and the stability and the territorial integrity of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, and more specifically Qatar, as being a part and parcel of the Egyptian national security?
Yes, this is another part of Egypt's effort affirming that all the Arab countries in the region are one. Egypt is backing the de-escalation for the best of all the Arab countries in the region. And this continuous contact between Dr. Badr Abdulati and his Arab counterparts affirms every now and then that Egypt is reverting to diplomacy, because the cost of the war is so expensive for everyone in the region, and that situation should come to an end as soon as possible.
Yes, on another front, if we switch to the American-Iranian negotiations and the statements that we have seen going back and forth between the Iranian officials and the American officials, including the U.S. President Donald Trump, that a deal is on the verge of conclusion by the end of Sunday. For example, according to the statements of the U.S. President Donald Trump. On the other hand, there was other statements, different statements, contradictory statements and contradicting statements from the Iranian officials that the deal is not closed yet, and that more specifically the Iranian nuclear project is one of the main sticking points between the US and Iran. How do you see the future of the nuclear project for Iran regarding those negotiations, or within the context of the negotiations taking place?
I believe this peace deal is regarding the de-escalation of the situation, but what is regarding the nuclear, the Iranian nuclear project needs another agreement according to what is announced by both parts on social newspaper, international newspaper. I believe this, they reached what could be called a peace deal currently, but the issue of Iranian nuclear project, all in all, is another thing. U.S. says that Iran is never going to have a nuclear power at all, but I believe the real situation that they will sit again for dealing with this situation separately from the current escalation of between U.S., Israel, and Iran.
Dr. Asmaa, realistically, do you think that the project, the Iranian nuclear project, could be postponed for 10 years or 20 years?
It could be postponed, but it will not be fully cancelled as announced by the U.S., I believe. Iran is very good in this area in negotiating for her benefits, whatever the party is negotiating with. I believe they will discuss the issue in different perspectives and different times, but the final situation cannot be decided by the U.S. I believe it is going to be decided by Iran itself.
Something or another thing that would be decided by the Iranian officials, according to the statements of the Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, is the fate of the Strait of Hormuz. And he's saying that Iran has the full responsibility, alongside Oman, for example. It has the full control over the Strait of Hormuz. Do you think that this will be antagonizing the situation and the negotiations taking place between the U.S. and Iran, and more specifically the American President Donald Trump would be happy about those statements?
I believe this is the absurd part about the peace deal. Actually, the Strait of Hormuz was open normally before these strikes. And now we are reaching a peace deal and saying that the Strait of Hormuz is going to be open and free, the movement is going to be free. What was the U.S. targeting out of these strikes? I believe it is going to be open and will be the control again to the complete control of over the Strait of Hormuz will be back to Iran. But the whole situation was complicated, and we are back to square zero.
Yes, and speaking about square one or square zero, as you mentioned, Dr. Asmaa, what about the fate of the frozen assets of Iran within the control of the United States of America? As before, we have seen that the $24 billion could be used in reparations for the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. For example, it will be redirected to the GCC countries, and they will be paying for the damages that we have seen over the past 4 months during the war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. On another front, that during the negotiations taking place for the past 24 or 48 hours, that half of the frozen assets, about $12 billion, could be returning once again, could be retrieved by Iran before the beginning of the implementation of the deal between the U.S. and Iran.
And this is considered the smartest part done by the Iranian negotiators. I believe, yes, they are going to regain the frozen assets, Iranian assets, and it's going to give them the freedom also to sell their oil for the world, the rest of the world, I believe. This is, we could consider as a type of win-win situation, but on the greater part, it is a one to the Iranian situation. The Iranian negotiator and the whole situation is there for their best.
And finally, the situation in Lebanon. How do you see the future of it, especially within the context of the ongoing negotiations?
This is about the peace deal, because the news coming out from Israel is not. They say they will comply with the peace deal, but as you know, Israel is never trusted regarding this part. We hope that it is going to include Lebanon, and they will stop their strikes over, because the number of the dead people and the wounded is a huge number. We hope that Israel will follow the peace deal and stop the strikes against Lebanon.
Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, the Senior Fellow at the Global Peace Institute, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International.